Good morning and hey y'all, hey, welcome to another session of Meditations with Marigny. So I wanted to hop on this morning. If you have enjoyed my videos, I would love for you to click like. I would love for you to share it with a friend, and I would love for you to subscribe if you're new. So this morning I would like to talk a little bit about the update of online dating. And I would like to talk a little bit about the difference between meeting a healed person and meeting someone that is still needing to be healed from their previous relationships. And I want to make this a fairly quick video because it's raining this morning and I got here just a few minutes. I was on time, but I didn't give myself enough time to have an early day. But I wanted to speak specifically about talking with people in the online dating process that have gone through the proper healing process. You guys know I did a video a few weeks ago, a kind of a series about being in the dating pool. And one of them I talked about getting your healing before you get in the pool. Like, people are complaining about who's in the dating pool, but some of the people who are complaining are the very people that are bringing the issues to the pool. And in speaking with a young man, we were talking, and it was our first time conversing. And one of the things that I said to him is that I don't see men in a negative way. I hear of this pink pill and this red pill environment, and I'm listening to people where women and men are coming against each other. And I totally disagree with that concept. I believe that we need one another. And for those of us that are vetting ourselves to be wife material, and those that are vetting ourselves to be husband material, we can't get caught up in the midst of the negativity that is being exploited right now amongst the world. One of the things that I said to him is that I don't hate men. I don't see men in a negative way. I don't have even though I've had bad experiences with some men, I don't categorize every man to be in that category. And I think that it's an unfair process when we do, because then that means that we put every woman and every man in those categories. And it's not so. And it was just interesting because when I said that, he said, wow, I haven't heard that, you know. And just the way he said it, he was kind of taken back. But the conversation was really good. It was our first time chatting. And one of the things that we both kind of said is that even if this doesn't go anywhere beyond just a good friendship, you know, you're someone that I have enjoyed speaking with. The conversation was stimulating enough that it was interesting to hold both of our attention, as well as we both were very honest about like what we're looking for and what we're expecting to get out of this dating process. Now, the one thing that I did share with him, because he's only been on the site maybe a week, and I did share with him that, sorry guys, my phone has an alarm. I did share with him that I did not believe that he would be able to find what he was actually looking for in a week's time. I'll be honest with you. I've been on the site now since August, and you know, strategically using the methods that are there. And I've met some good people. Just in the long run, we kind of felt like we might not be a good fit for one another. But I think that there are some good people that are still out there in the dating pool. And so I don't believe that I would have, if I had come off the site within a month or two, you know, I would have came out saying that there's nobody out there. And I don't believe that to be so. So, and I don't know whether or not I will meet my person on this site, but I do know that I'm giving it 110% for putting forth the effort and making sure that I vet people properly and try to see if there is a match that might be for me. So the main thing that I want to talk about is making sure that you are in your healed space. Like, there are some components that I just know would not be able to be something I would be able to negotiate with. But then there are other components about men that some of that is just logistical. It's a matter of preference versus standard. And I think that if we look at what our standards are, my standards are one thing. This is what I live by. These are my guiding sources that govern me as a person. They are my core values. They are the things that I believe in from a perspective of, they are my faith, my beliefs, my value systems. But then preferences are things that, I prefer this, but that's not something that I have to have. I prefer this, but it's not something that is a requirement. And then I prefer this, but is it something that he and I can talk about and we can find whether or not it fits into the standard? And for some men, and I will say, like, I've had some disasters as well. So I don't want to paint a beautiful picture over here. But I am, if you follow my channel, I am a glass half full type person, which means that even in my negative experiences, I have tried to look at them how I can look at it from a positive perspective. Prime example, I had one guy that definitely came in. He was chit chatting. We were laughing, jokey back and forth. And one of the things, like, we were joking. And I said, I can already tell that you're going to be trouble. Like, there's no sense in, when he explained to me that he had never been married, he did not have any children. And what did he say? Never been married, didn't have any children. It was one more thing. And so I said, I'm sure that you have women out the yang yang, just like it's a revolving door. So he actually got offended. Now we're texting back and forth. He had already sent me his phone number and everything. I'm really leery of men that move really quickly like that, because that tells me that there's a bunch of game that's about to be played. And unfortunately, because one, my maturity, my age and my wisdom from the dumb mistakes that I've made in life before, I'm not interested in making those anymore. And then two, because I am dating I am vetting for a husband. I am vetting, I am putting myself out there as wife material. And so if he's not someone that is looking or moving in that vein, and I'm not even saying that we have to start out that way, but he got to be a husband. He got to have a husband mindset. Like, there's no way possible that the guy who sent me that information, because right after he did that, he went right into some type of, he was trying to measure up like who was living in my home. And I know that he was measuring that up because he was trying to see how often he would be able to come by. And that's going to be never. So, ladies, you have to understand that just like we are looking for good men, there are good men looking for good women. And one of the things that the young man said that I was talking with, he said, this dating thing is so different. He was married for like 20 something years and has been divorced now, I think like 9. And he was basically saying that, the dating process is so different now, and he was like, I could literally go out and I could go to a bar or go somewhere, meet someone. I could easily come home and, have relations with someone. And then he said, but that revolving door gets old. It gets old. And if you're really not cut from that cloth, that's not really what you want. So you might fall into that category, but do you really want that on a regular and consistent basis? And he talked about the value of having somebody that you're building something with, someone that you are grinding with, someone that can go through life experiences with you and figuring out what is the best fit for you. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick update, but I also just wanted to say that, for my channel, we are vetting for being a wife and or being a husband, and understanding that no man wants something that everybody has access to. I don't care, even if he has access to you, he's not going to want it if everybody else has access to it. And no man wants someone that produces themselves or puts themselves out there for everyone to have. In the end, Everyone wants what is best for them. And especially if it is a man that is a good man, that is husband mindseted. That doesn't mean that he has all the qualities and components in place. One of the other things that I said to him is that I'm not angry with my ex-husband. I was when I first went through that process, but I was not angry because I was angry with him. I was angry because he knew that he knew that I believed in the covenant of the marriage vows more than I did divorce. And that is what you really want to look for, because divorce is always an option. But you want to look for someone in this process that is more interested and they place more value on the marital vows and that covenant than they do for what divorce could give them. Because that person is then going to fight. They are going to work at it. They are going to grind. They're willing to get counseling. They're willing to do date nights. They're willing to do couples retreats. They're willing to put in the work in order to make sure that it works. And the bottom line is, guys, it only works if we work it. In the end, there are no marriages that are perfect. Even my parents, they were married for 33 years. And yes, I saw a lot of wonderful things in my childhood. But, to hear my mother talk about some of the struggles that they had, my dad made some really bad decisions. He did some things that were not necessarily the right decision for the family. But overall, they worked together to get through those processes. And then they talked about it and they figured out a way that they were going to get through it. And even back then, they didn't even have all the resources that we have now. They just had the grind and the fortitude to know that we're in this relationship together and we're going to make it work. And I do believe that some of us, I believe it's a small pool of people, but I believe that there are some of us who still believe in the core values of the marital relationship. We believe in the core values of what God created man and woman and husband and wife and relationship and family for. And at this age, it means that we're going to have a blended family, but I'm looking forward to that as well. Anybody that knows me, I have all boys. How wonderful it would be to have a daughter that I could build a relationship with and have the opportunity to share in those components of her life. So, and I will, I'm sure, get to experience that as my boys move and matriculate into dating and things of that sort. My prayer is that I will get to experience that with my daughter-in-laws. But for the most part, we have to really, really look at what is important. And I don't know if I don't know if y'all hear that noise, but we have to look at what is really important and what are we willing to invest in. So, ladies, what I will say to you is if you are still angry with your ex, or you're angry with the men in your life, or something happened in your childhood where you see men in a different light, get connected with some counseling. Get the proper therapy to do the work through that you need in order to make sure that when you meet a viable man and a viable candidate, that you're not going to then take that level of discomfort out on him. Because in the end, I wouldn't want for a man who has been through trials and tribulations or bad marriages, or, he had a wife that cheated or a wife that didn't appreciate him because of what he brought to the table, to take that out on me. And so I think that we have to look at the yin for the yang. We have to look at what we're asking for and what we're willing to give. And vulnerability is going to be a major component in order for you to get to that place. You're going to have to make yourself vulnerable to that person in order to even get to that stage. And in order to make yourself vulnerable, you're going to have to be healed. You got to be healed from the wounds that you had in order to be able to open yourself up for someone else to be able to receive from you, and for you to be able to receive from them. So this was just a quick update, and just to let you guys know that I'm still very encouraged. I am, it's a little bit exhausting, I will say, but it's kind of what I anticipated and what I expected. And so I didn't put a whole lot of expectation in it happening quickly, but that it's just a slow moving train right now. So if you enjoyed this video, I ask that you would please click like. I would ask that you would share it with a friend. And I'll ask that you would subscribe. You guys have an awesome day. Bye.